Welcome back. The outgoing officials of the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, have handed over to the Secretariat their report in an event today witnessed by the Interior Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Fred Matiang'i. Let's now speak to our senior reporter, Rita Tinina, who joins us live from our city centre studios. Rita, good afternoon. For the years that this particular body has been in existence, what are they saying they've done so far in that report?
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Kisa. As you mentioned there, they were presenting their end-of-term report. And that end-of-term report, they were basically outlining what they have been able to achieve, the cases they have handled, what they have been able to analyze according to the complaints that they have received from members of the public. And it may not come as a surprise to many, Akisa, because corruption still ranks the highest among the complaints. 45% of the complaints that were presented before IPOA were about corruption. 18% about police harassment. There was 3% about serious injuries caused by the police, another 3.3% deaths caused by the police, and there was also 0.4% offenses, sexual offenses, complaints about sexual offenses that were presented to the authority. But what may be a subject for critics and analysts, Akisa, is the fact that the authority handled about over 9,000 cases, and out of those cases, it was only able 3 of them are the only ones that have been prosecuted, convictions handed to police officers in just 3 cases. But in its defense, the authority is saying that, look, 6 years was our term, but 2.5 years we spent setting up the office. It was the first of its kind. They did not have a budget. They did not have staff. And so they are saying effectively they were serving for 3.5 years. But those statistics, Akisa, may come under scrutiny. They are also saying they did not have the support they needed from the police. And even the Inspector General of Police, Joseph Boynet, was there at the function. He admitted that they have not had cordial relationships with the IPOA, and he was saying he hopes to have better relations with the board that is coming in. There were concerns raised about the issue that perhaps there will be a lacuna between now and when a new board takes over. And some of those who spoke there, the Director of Public Prosecutions, Nurdin Haji, as well as the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, Kagwiri Mbogori, saying that they need to act fast. The government, the parliamentary committee that is responsible for the Policing Oversight Authority, to ensure that the body, another board, is set up as quickly as possible. The Interior Cabinet Secretary, Fred Matiang'i, was there at the function, and he warned that radical changes are coming within the police service. And first of all, he says, in a case, last week we saw bodyguards attached to the Nairobi governor, Sonko, being withdrawn, and Matiang'i says this is one of the changes that will be instituted. He mentioned and he said that you cannot have a police station moved to someone's office. Sonko had 26 bodyguards, about 20 of them were withdrawn, and we'll be waiting to see what other changes the Interior Cabinet Secretary may institute in coming days. Akisa.
All right, Rita Tinina, our senior reporter there, speaking to us on that particular report by IPOA that many have quipped to say has been a very dismal performance. And of course, Rita Tinina there saying that there will be a lacuna between now when they leave office to when the next office will be set up. But let's take a look at what the chairman of IPOA said in that particular event, Macharia Njeru, earlier on.
The Ministry of Interior and National Coordination, because that is the parent ministry that has the policy oversight over all the institutions in policing agencies. We must really thank you most sincerely, because whenever there were challenges, you were always able to come in and assist us. There are many times that the friction, we must admit, as the IG has said, was really at pitch high. And even your predecessor, Honorable Nkaiseri, at one time had to intervene when one of our investigators was assaulted by a police officer, and then Kaiseri took action at that moment. So we really thank the ministry, because it has consistently been able to stand by us. We would not have been able to achieve all that, and we thank you. Finally, of course, we thank the public. The public has stood by us, even at times when we've been low, and again, our families. Our families are the ones who understand most the challenges that we have had to go through, sometimes when it has really been demoralizing for us, but they stood with us. My wife is here, and she represents all the other wives and everybody else. So we really thank them, because at times At times we were wondering whether it was worth being, doing these jobs, but we said, in the interest of the country, we must serve, because that is extremely critical, and we have to be patriots. Finally, let me say this. I'll say three things. We've analyzed the complaints that we've received in the last 6 years. Of course, as I said, mainly we worked for 3.5 years. And the following trends and patterns have emerged. That 45.1% of those complaints related to abuse of office by members of the National Police Service. Now, 18.1% related to police harassment. 3.3% related to killings by police officers. 3.8% related to serious injuries caused by police officers. Then there was 7.6% related to matters of police welfare. And then there was 0.4% that related to sexual offenses. And there was a 6.5% that related to assault. And the rest, which was 13.8%, related to general misconduct. So our conclusion has been this, as we leave, that the biggest problem within the National Police Service, if we're to be candid, is the management. It's a management issue that needs to be dealt with. That's our take-home. Management is a critical issue. Now, what do I mean by management? One, majority of police commanders do not have management and leadership skills, and that impacts negatively on the running of the National Police Service. That is one. Point number two, there is no coherent strategic direction. Coherent in the sense that you can say that the police service, there's effective coordination. There's no effective coordination that is, that is there. And of course, that coherent strategic direction, which affects, again, as you've said, the running of the National Police Service. Now, again, there's no elaborate accountability mechanism. Because if there was elaborate accountability mechanism, it would be much easier to hold police officers to account, rather than for us being in denial. Because if we continue being in denial that there's a problem, then it becomes extremely difficult to come up with solutions. Solutions can only be there if we start by accepting that there's a problem. So if these issues are tackled, it will become easier for the National Police Service to change itself, because the change should actually start from within, not even from without. We are just but an external accountability mechanism. But it behoves on the police itself to change itself. Now, and if they're able to change that, it then means that the public confidence will increase, and with that, communities will properly engage with the police, and you'll see better relations, without doubt. And we'll have a National Police Service that you can be proud of.
That is the chairman of IPOA, of course, the outgoing chairman of IPOA, Macharia Njeru, speaking in that particular event earlier on in the day. So IPOA has been in existence for about 6 years now. As they end their term, they were handing over their report to the Secretariat as IPOA prepares to get another team to take over the work. So let's just quickly take a look at their mandates for the 6 years, and then take a look at what they have done so far. IPOA is expected to investigate the deaths, serious injuries that have been caused by police action. They're also expected to investigate police misconduct and monitor, review and audit investigations and actions by internal affairs unit of the police. They're also expected to conduct inspections of police premises, and this inspection reports, they should report and they should prepare the reports and share them with the relevant authorities. In its mandate, they are also expected to monitor and investigate policing operations as well as deployments. The authority also independently scrutinizes policing operations affecting members of the public to ensure policing is conducted for the benefit of the people. So they work for the people and not the police, and they're also expected to review the functioning of the internal disciplinary process as well as monitor internal police disciplinary processes to ensure fairness and effectiveness, and they may conduct surveys to assess improvement in police internal accountability mechanisms. So when this particular body was being set up in 2011 November, specifically through an act of parliament, these are some of the things they were expected to have done by the end of their 6-year term. So let's take a look at some of the complaints that have been made against the police according to the statistics that IPOA has released today. So they say 9,200 complaints have been recorded so far, 45% of these complaints being abuse of office by police, 18.1% of them being police harassment, of course, mostly reported by Kenyans. 3.3% of this has been killings by police, and 3.8% being serious injuries that have been caused by police. This amounts to the 9,200 complaints that have been recorded so far by IPOA from that particular report that they have released today. So some of the challenges they have encountered, and why some have said that IPOA has been a toothless dog to keep police into account throughout the 6-year term. IPOA has been struggling to fulfill its remit to hold police to account. They have received more than 9,200 complaints on police misconduct. They have secured convictions of police officers for committing crimes in only 2 cases out of the 9,200 complaints that have been made so far. The first judgment involved 2 police officers who were found guilty of shooting a 14-year-old girl in her home, and the second conviction came in February when a court found a policeman guilty of murdering a suspected thief in 2013. These are the only 2 cases that this particular team that has been in office for 6 years, which is their term, can be proud of as what they have seen being the charging and conviction of police officers involved in these particular cases. And I want us to speak to an analyst on the performance of IPOA so far. Enoch Makanga now joins me in studio to just help us analyze this. Thank you very much for making time for us here on KTN News Desk.
Thank you.
The IPOA chairperson, outgoing chairperson Macharia Njeru, says that they spent 2.5 years setting up the office. So basically they've been in office for just 3 years. Even if we are judging them by the 3 years he talks about, how do you rate their performance so far?
I think they've not done a good job. I could give them 5 out of 10. I could give them 5. Yeah.
So five means fair.
Yeah, just fair. Because if you look at the number of complaints vis-a-vis what has been taken to court and with the conviction they've had, I think it actually raises so many questions. One could say they have incompetent investigators. 2, I think the complaints are too many. So they needed to change their game plan so that they go back on the ground to actually make sure they reach to very many police officers on the ground. Because what normally happens in the police force is for the sake that the complaints are coming in, and IPOA should find out why the complaints are coming in. He has talked about police management. Yeah, what have they done about senior police officers being taken through corporate security management? Let them understand how to manage people. And that's one of the problems that the police are struggling with. Yeah. So if they've not been able to address the actual problems, then that tells you complaints will be very many and they are not being addressed. Or if they are being addressed, then they cannot be able to stand test of time when it comes to the court. Because, you know, the court will not be able to convict somebody unless there's sufficient evidence to be able to convict somebody. So having just very few convictions, that tells you, I think IPOA should wake up. Yeah. They should look for very competent officers, and if possible, the ones they have, they should be able to take them for more serious. Let's have serious. You know, we are talking about police officers. So we should have somebody who has very, very intensive skills in investigation, interviews, and all those things that surround being a competent investigation. And above all, the issue of integrity. I think the question of who is in IPOA should be, whose integrity should be above board. And not questionable.
But even as you talk about competence, Macharia Njeru, the outgoing chairperson, has also mentioned that their relationship with the police has not been very good. He says the friction has been there the entire term. Could this also have attributed to their dismal performance, so to speak?
Definitely, definitely, because at the end of the day, in fact, the IG accepted that the relationship has been very poor. So what you need to do when you are in such a situation, you need to find out a way of how you are able to the left arm knows what the right arm is doing. For example, I think I remember there's a case where they went to, was it Kayole or somewhere in an office of an OSPD, and the whole thing became messy because this guy had to pull out a gun and all those things. These are things that need to be addressed. The IG is right saying that we must find a way that the IPOA should be able to address these issues as far as police officers are concerned. And the police officers are taken through to understand the role of IPOA at police station level. Because the problem here is if you went to a police station in Mandera or you went to a police station in Siaya, down there on the ground, do they understand the role of IPOA? The answer is no.
But shouldn't this have been among the first order of business for IPOA when they came into office, get police officers to understand their mandate and what will be expected of them?
Of course, if I'm auditing as a security expert, I could say that was not done. You see, when we are talking about you publicizing yourself to be known by members of the public, to be known by the people that you are going to investigate, that's the police officers if there's a problem. And again, we're also talking about something wrong being done to a police officer. We are not talking about one side of the game.
Yeah.
We are talking about, again, a member of the public doing something wrong to a police officer. So unless these guys go down and spend money on doing what you call, let them sensitize members of the public to understand their role, and then at the police station level, let police officers understand their role from sub-county level to police station level. Now, it makes their work very easy. But now, if they get in confrontation, because we are talking about an offense or abuse of office by a police officer, you will get resistance, of course.
Okay. But the outgoing chairperson, Macharia Njeru, also says that the biggest problem they've noticed in the police service is the management. Would this be a good place to start for the incoming team?
I totally agree with him, 100%. One of the problems that the police service has had is the issue of who is in the management level. The IG is struggling. You know, at the end of the day, the IG is the policy maker. He only makes decisions at a high level. But now, when it comes to making decisions at divisional level, making decisions at county level, most of the guys at county level make wrong decisions, and that is now what is affecting police operations down on the ground. And I agree with the chairman. I think something must be done in terms of training officers to understand that they must change the way they approach security in the current situation. Otherwise, there must come a way of doing things.
Yeah.
It may not work.
When you
now.
say change the modus operandi, what do you mean?
Culture change.
What do we see?
Culture change, yeah. Police officers, senior police officers must embrace culture change. They must understand that they are dealing with a different environment altogether. They are dealing with members of the public who understand what their rights. And they must know that police officers are not the old type of police officers who can keep quiet when he's being oppressed. They must know how to deal with these issues. They must know how to handle officers, see an officer who is sick, see an officer who is demoralized and find out a solution, not firing this guy or creating a problem or complicating problems. Like that's a problem that we've had in the police force right now. They need to actually understand that, for example, us in the corporate sector, when you find an officer not performing, you must find out there's a problem. When you find out there's a problem, you involve the HR. The HR brings in counselors, and you'll be able to sort out the problem with this person. But you'll find most officers on the ground. That's why you say police officers are shooting. They are shooting people left, right, center. They are shooting their relatives. They are shooting their girlfriends. I think every month we have a case. That tells you somebody who is in charge, somebody who is at county level, somebody who is at sub-county level is sleeping on the job. Okay. The officers are sleeping on the job. They must be able to understand the actual problems of police officers at station level, at county level, at sub-county level, and things will move the right direction.
I want us to bring in the voice of the senior-most security officer in the country, and that is the Cabinet Secretary for Interior on the same. The Cabinet Secretary, Fred Matiang'i, said the government is keen on reviewing police recruitment and assessment, calling on other stakeholders to support such reforms towards better policing within the country. Here's that clip.
To bring about the change that we desire. We will have change even in the recruitment of the next police officers we are going to recruit. I want to step up the capacities of the police service so that for a country that is endowed as ours is, we should increase the the capacities of the resources we give ourselves. And as we go forward, we should translate some of the work that has been done by IPOA into templates that we can use to move forward. Templates for recruitment, templates for assessment, and review as we go forward. So I'm inviting all of us, the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, the Kenya Human Rights Commission, Amnesty International, all of you are good colleagues. Let's sit at the table and get this job done. Let's walk away from the idea of talking at each other at press conferences. We have an equal stake in this country. This is our country. Let's all work together and deliver an improved and better police environment so that we don't spend time, blaming the police all the time and criticizing the police and talking about the things they have not done, sometimes at the expense of the things they have done, the great things they have done. Look at where we are and where we were last October and the amount of work that these police officers have done throughout a very difficult period of time last year during the elections. I will not deny that we have our challenges, but I'll also be ready to admit that we've overcome those challenges as we go along. We're better today than we were yesterday, and we want to be better tomorrow than we are today. And with that hope, and that focus, and that commitment, let us all work together.
Well, that is Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i earlier on in that particular function. What do you think about what he says?
I totally agree with the CS. I think that is the best comment I've heard about him in terms of strategy. In any organization, the starting point is the recruitment. You get a wrong guy on board, I mean, you'll have problems up to the end. One of the problems that the IG has had is the issue of having wrong people who end up getting in the police force with an aim of maybe joining traffic, with an aim of joining those, and that creates a problem for the police force. But I'm happy now that the CS has mentioned about it. I think if we are able to, like me when I joined the police force, nobody helped me. I went to Busia and I got the job without nobody assisting me. Yeah. And I went for the medical, I went for the aptitude test, and I got into the police force, just using the right journal. But the problem that we've had right now is the issue of wrong people getting into the police force and then trying to tarnish the good name of the police service. And that, I think, should be stopped. I think he's right. Let's support him. We are ready to support him. We want the right thing to be done at the right time, and we get the right officers. I guess, let me tell you, the police job is like preaching. You must have a call to serve this country. But you'll find most of these officers who are in the police force, they don't fit to be in the police force. They don't fit at all. They don't have a call. The utumishi kwa wote, that thing of utumishi kwa wote is not in their blood. These are wrong people who are in the wrong place. And if that thing is actually examined and we are able to get the right guys in the police force, I can tell you, Kenya, I've traveled in the whole of African continent. I've gone to other countries. Kenya has the best police service. Only that if some of these problems that IPOA has mentioned are addressed, and if they are addressed spot on, I think we should be able to get a police force or police service that is able to be accepted by members of the public.
All right, thank you very much. Always appreciate your presence here on KTN News Desk. Enoch Makanga is a security expert. As we take a look at the scorecard for IPOA, as the first team that took over this particular body ends their term today, they were handing over their report to the Secretariat, as of course they await who will come in next to head that particular body. Now, a police officer attached to Olkatongo Agricultural Development Corporation, ADC, in Trans Nzoia County was on Saturday arrested by Ethnic and Anti-Corruption Commission officials for imposing illegal taxes on livestock allegedly straying to the corporation's land. The officer and two others had on Tuesday seized over 100 heads of cattle belonging to farmers in Kitale and demanded 100,000 shillings before they could release the animals. The officers had demanded for 40,000 Kenya shillings from Bramwell Simatwa before they could release his herd when the farmer alerted the EACC officers who laid a trap. Drama ensued as the farm when an EACC officer posing as livestock trader arrived and pretended to buy one of the cows to enable Simatwa raise the money to pay the officers.
Nilikuja kwa askari ambao wako hapa Olkatongo, nikaongea na askari, wakaniambia ya kwamba wako na instructions kutoka kwa manager kwamba ng'ombe ni 1,000 ili apate kutoka. Ng'ombe mbuzi ni 1,000. Kondoo ni 1,000. Na ijalishi kama ni ng'ombe mdogo mbuzi kidogo, kondoo kidogo, yote ni mbuzi ama ng'ombe. Tukajaribu kwamba nakaniambia sasa, wewe nataka nikupunguzie vipi? Akasema nipatie 20,000. Nikaambia hapana, wewe punguzie mimi. Lakini akasema kama huwezi kutoa hiyo, basi wewe mzee, ng'ombe yako itabaki hapa. Mwisho nikaambia basi kitu iliyoko, mimi nimeshindwa kupata pesa. Sasa kitu iko, munifungulie ng'ombe ama munishtaki basi kwa makosa ambayo nimefanya, na muachilie ng'ombe.
Afika pale wanatuma askari, wanakuja na pikipiki. Pikipiki mingi, pikipiki kama 5, na wanapewa watu 3. Askari 3 huko nyuma. Wanakuja na singira ng'ombe, wanachukua ng'ombe. Kweli sisi hatuwezi pishana na serikali. Tunaheshimu serikali kwa sababu ni serikali yetu. Ng'ombe ikikuja hapa, basi hakuna kutoka kama hakuna pesa.
Ng'ombe ikishikwa hakuna malisho inapewa. Mara kuna ng'ombe 2 ya askari fulani anaitwa Kipto. Iliwahi kufa na hata nyama ikagawiwa umbwa ikakuliwa tu hivyo. Hakuna nyasi yeyote ambayo ng'ombe inapewa. So inawekwa mahali hata kavu kabisa kama hapa chini.
All right, I want us to take a short commercial break as we wrap up the first hour of KTN News Desk. On the second hour, we focus on matters IEBC and the replacement of the commissioners who resigned about a month ago, and so far, no word on how the replacement will be going about. Wafula Chebukati-led commission seems a bit toothless as they cannot do much with a body that is not properly constituted. I will be having that conversation with lawyer Steve Ogola when we get back. And of course, Robinson Okenya will be coming in at 2:30 with sports news. Don't go too far.